You're watching Women of Strength TV with a purpose-driven woman who has a yearning deep in her soul to serve the world. Presented to you by Ange Wilcock, creator of Evolutionary Model of Well-Being, Mindfulness-Based Storytelling, and the Raw Woman Project, a businesswoman on a mission for every human on the earth to feel enough.
So once again, welcome to Women of Strength podcast and TV. And as I always say, I've got another incredible guest who I'm interviewing today. And I just love what I do. I love that we just show up as our raw selves. And I always have a little chat with the person that I'm going to interview before the interview starts, because it's what we do. We connect, and for me, I have lots of women wanting to be interviewed and sharing their story, which is so inspirational for me, but I haven't always met them. And one of the key things is about connecting to each other, and so we just briefly say a little bit about ourselves. And so I'm going to introduce you today, or welcome you to Susan, who's my guest today. And one of the things that I was just saying to Susan, I only ask one question, and Susan was like, oh, I need to think about or discover where my journey started. But our journey starts wherever our journey starts, and that's what I love about doing these interviews, is that we are who we are. We show up today who we show up to be. It might be something different tomorrow. So welcome, Susan.
Thank you so much for having me.
I'm so grateful for you to be here. Now, I'm going to read out your bio so people just get to know a little bit about you, and then we'll just go on in and have that conversation about your journey and becoming that woman of strength. So, Susan, is it Greif? Is that how I pronounce your surname?
It's Greif.
Greif. That's, yeah. So, I mean, again, this is what we do. We're raw. I never check that out off air. And
and I thought about that before you started speaking.
Yeah, I know. And it's great, because this is what I love. It's just, we just show up. This is us. Because in real life, that is, offline, that is exactly what we would do, isn't it? So anyway, so this is Susan Greif. Is that correct? Yes.
Correct.
Cool. So Susan is an interpreter of creativity. She calls it, and in brackets, she's got mind detective. I love that, mind detective, because we all need a detective of the mind. A speaker, an author, an illustrator, and an owner of Art Mends Hearts. I mean, I love the name of that. It's incredible. And Susan uses the expressive, creative, and healing arts to help individuals deal with trauma. Her unique multidisciplinary approach helps her clients find emotional freedom from anxiety, depression, anger, grief, loss, illness, pain, eating disorders, social behaviours, and learning disabilities. Wow, what a wide spectrum that is. And she harnesses the power of creative expression to help her clients release old, stuck energies that keep them feeling paralyzed, panicked, powerless, and in pain. And it propels them to move forward and reach their goals. I love that. That's incredible. And so Susan also believes that in order to move beyond trauma, individuals must address their physical, emotional, and overall well-being. And this can be accomplished by creating awareness, making a commitment to self-exploration, bringing the unconscious to the conscious, and creating clarity. And so Susan interprets these expressive arts and helps bring the subconscious to awareness quicker than talking therapies. It makes thoughts and emotions more perceptible and tangible. And this way, those exposed to trauma can begin to restructure their thoughts and learn necessary coping skills so that they can heal quicker and move forward to living a happier, healthier, and more balanced lifestyle. I love that. That's incredible. And so Susan's got websites and things like that, but she'll tell us all about that later on. And so, Susan, welcome, because it sounds like you've had an incredible journey to be able to support what you do, because I know through nearly all the women that I've interviewed, they're showing up and doing what they're doing because they've had those experiences themselves and are able to share those experiences to support others. So where did your story of stepping into Woman of Strength start for you?
I think it started the day I began dental school,
Yeah.
but I quit the day after orientation.
Right.
I was born to two Holocaust survivors who
Wow.
were traditionalists, and you're basically told to do what you're told to do. And since I was engaged at the time, they felt, well, you don't have to go to dental school anymore because, you have your husband. You don't need to go to dental school to find your husband. But what they didn't realize what it wasn't about looking for a husband for me. It was more about following my dream. I love science and psychology and the arts, so it kind of all blended together, and I thought it was a great thing. But I listened because I was supposed to. As a child of survivors, you kind of grow up feeling guilt for what they went through, and you're supposed to do what you're told to do. And I also find that because they were hiding in forests, they taught me to stay low, hide, don't be seen, don't say anything, just blend in,
Yeah.
So, and I found that I was doing that my whole life. Every time I wanted to shine, I was being squelched by something or another. But not going to dental school was actually a blessing in disguise, because within the next 8 years, I got married, lost both my parents, and had 4 children.
Gosh.
So this is all my 20s.
Wow.
And it was, I was just thrown into the lion's den, and I had no idea what to do. And here I was, being the homemaker, the housewife that I really never wanted to be, that traditional role I was kind of forced into again. And then I just, I kept studying dance for exercise because I love it. And I studied photography because I was taking photographs of my kids, and people said, "Oh my God, look at your eye. You have an amazing eye for photographs." So I started studying photography. And one day, I asked my 8-year-old daughter, like, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" And she says, "I want to be a mommy and do nothing like you all day." And that was like a stab to my heart. Like, like I could have been a doctor. I could, but obviously no kids understand what it's like to be a mother until you are a mother. And she's a mother today of a 2-year-old dealing with terrible twos. So
she knows what it's like doing nothing.
Exactly. Anyway, but that got me to go on a local mission in my neighborhood to Macedonia. There was, during the Balkan War, there was a refugee camp where Albanians were sent to because they were being ethnically cleansed. So I went with my group in my neighborhood on this mission to bring shoes and medicine supplies to this refugee camp. And I brought my camera because I was studying photography at the time. I started taking photographs, and the emotions that exuded on the paper was so immense that papers were asking to publish them, and magazines. And then I had a photo show in Manhattan in art galleries and a museum, and a lot of proceeds I donated to the Albanians, the refugees. And I was just so excited about this. I said, "Oh my God, this is like what I do. I want to be a photojournalist and travel the world." And again, my reality check came when my husband says, "You have 4 kids under the age of 8. Where are you traveling?"
Right.
So, okay, I have to listen again and do the right thing. I'm constantly doing what everybody wants me to do. And he is my reality check. I'm very blessed to be able to stay home with my children, raise my kids. But I always knew that there was more to it than raising my children. And raising my children is a huge, I'm not mocking that, because I think it's like the hardest thing you can possibly do. And I'm very, very blessed that they're good kids, and they're, and they're doing their thing. They're on the right path. So I'm very blessed to that. But I always knew, like, by the time I turned 40, I was like so depressed. I was so upset. I was so busy searching and soul searching. I took yoga classes and meditation classes and energy healing classes. I took writing classes, and I took, dance and more dance classes, and, every class I can.
That yearning never goes away, does it? That yearning just there.
Yeah, it's my creative yearnings. I'm always there. I needed to do, and And what I also was as a child, I always loved to perform. I always wanted to be an actress, but because it was somebody else, it was somebody else. It wasn't me. I was a little shy, but I'd love to be out there, but I was always shy about it. I also did cheerleading for many years in high school and college. So again, it was about cheering other people, like bringing everybody else's spirit up. So I think like a mix of everything came to me when I decided to get my certification in creative arts therapies, where I study art and movement. And I just sat there in class one day and I said, oh my God, everything I learned just like funnels into this, what I do. And it was amazing being among other artists, where I live, a lot of people are, you're playing, you're all about being boxed in. You have a goal, you have to reach it, you have to do it, and it's not very creative. So, and that's when it's hit me. Actually, before that, when I was studying photography, a lot of the photographs I took were of bridges and doorways and windows, and there was always some open space. And all of a sudden, my instructor said to me, like, why can't you cross your bridge? Why can't you get to the other side? And that became my aha moment. Oh my God, I have to go back to school. That's when my aha moment. And I just started putting myself out there, and I just, put myself out there once. I started hiring a business coach because I never had a business. I never worked. So I became an entrepreneur. And I just, let my intuition and spirit or God or whoever guide me, and just one door always opens to another door. So I use the creative arts. So I realized that my photography is important for my eye, because I see things that people don't see. Mm-hmm. When I went to dental school, it's because I was able to perceive in different angles of the tooth. So I have that ability to have a high perception. I have a very high perception. I'm very intuitive. I'm very empathetic. So just everything I do. So I can see people's drawings now, and I can look at the lines. I can look at the pressure. I look at the colors. I look at the mediums. I look at what creates a boundary. Where's the placement? What's omitted? All these little things are little clues to me to ask questions. And that brings awareness once I bring the questions up, and then they have to, it's the process. What thoughts and emotions come up for them when they do these drawings. And then I have them journal it. So not only do they draw it, they are now, confirming it through writing and owning what it is that they see.
That's incredible, isn't it? Because, being able to see that in people that they can't see themselves, but yet they creatively are able to express it, but narratively can't. And then you're able to pick that up with them and start unpicking it. It's like their soul is speaking through the hand, or however they're showing their creativity. I love that. Yeah,
it's a form of active meditation. Instead of like quieting the mind, bringing in the mind. We are bringing in the thoughts. We're bringing in everything that comes to us, kind of like writing in the stream of consciousness. Just keep writing and putting it all on paper, and then in time we see patterns. That's why I like that, because you're very focused on what you're doing. It just like comes out.
Yeah. And so when you were stepping into this space, and that was, you realized that was your calling, that was your purpose, or to be doing this work, what was your learnings, apart from what your business coach had pointed out to you, what were your other sort of conscious learnings on that journey?
I think is finding my voice.
Yeah.
Finding my authentic voice, and finally saying, stop squelching me. This is what I want to do. I found my passion. I have my knowledge. Now it's about speaking my authentic self. And that's what it comes down to, like letting go of the ego and saying, I don't care what you think anymore. I'm so in tune to this. This is what I love. Because I had to always tear down to everybody. It's like, yes, whatever you say, because that's how I was raised, to be proper and listen to your elders and listen. But until I said, this is what I want to do. I mean, I went through my process of depression. That's how I figure out, I looked through my photographs, my doodles, and my journaling, and I found my patterns. I mean, I used to journal my dreams, and at the time, I found the pattern of every time I get to the airport in my dreams, I would either forget my suitcases or I forget my passport, and I just never was able to get on the airplane. And in time, I kept realizing this is the same pattern. And then there it was to me. It's like, oh my God, this is the baggage I need to let go of. And my identity, my passport is my identity. It's not like my husband's wife or my kid's mother anymore. It's me. I got to find me.
Yeah.
And then once I started going to school, once I started like realizing, oh my God, I get this. All of a sudden I had that dream of me getting on the plane and soaring. And that was like, whoa, I know I'm on my way.
Yeah, I love that. That's wonderful. I mean, what a great metaphor. And I think, it's a lot of the time when people are fearful of things, like the simple thing, like there's quite a few people out there that are fearful of flying. And that really is about, yourself. I'm fearful of showing up. I'm fearful of, getting out there and being me. It's got nothing to do with flying. And so that's wonderful. I love that. I love how you do that. And so you do, so that's, you can support your clients to move into that space too?
Yes. So, in order to make a change in life and in order to make shifts, first you have to be willing to. That's number one.
Yeah.
Two is to create awareness, and not everybody is willing to go there. It can open up Pandora's box and you don't want to, but when you're ready to commit, when you really want to make a shift in life, the awareness is the important thing.
Yeah.
Then we take action and we deal with the fears, as you were saying. My other metaphor I usually talk about is the story of three billy goat Gruffs. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
Oh, over the bridge? Yes.
Yes. So you have that troll under the bridge, and the three billy goats are coming across, and the baby goat comes to the bridge, and the troll jumps up and said, "I'm going to eat you." And he says, like, "No, don't eat me. Have my brother. He's bigger than me. Eat him instead." So you let him cross the bridge. It's like, 1 and 2. My bigger brother's behind me. He crosses the bridge. By the third billy goat came across, the troll came up, but the third billy goat was so big, he had the horns, and he just knocked him over. So there are ways to get rid of these trolls that hide under our bridges that don't allow us to cross over to our greener pastures. And that's a metaphor I use a lot, and we need to personify those trolls in our life who told us we can't do certain things. We can't, that we're not good enough, or we can't do these things, or whatever it is, you're never going to make it. All these trolls are somebody in our past has told us this, and we got to figure it out. And then when it becomes our, because our inner critic is so much louder than our inner wisdom, we have a tendency to neglect our wisdom. So we have to quiet that down. So I help go through find the negative thought patterns and restructure their thoughts and their behaviors so they could face it. And then, of course, there's SMART goals, like breaking down to small, incremental goals that are safe for them. And so, so they, I just believe that the universe is like a GPS system.
Yeah.
Put something out there and you put the end date, and you will get there. Even if you veer off a little bit, it'll remind you to go back on the right street. But everything's like, make a right turn, then a left turn, then a right turn. Like, everything is in increments, but you'll get there.
Yeah. What would you say to women, you're going back to that when you're in that place of depression, what would you say to women that are currently in that space right now? Because, I mean, it's great using metaphors and things like that, but sometimes people want these practical steps to be able to get out. Because when you are in that space, it feels like you can't get out, isn't it? It's like you're in this big hole, and you can, sometimes you can't even see the light at the top. And so what would your sort of advice be to them? What was it that you did? Because you obviously came to a realization, because depression isn't something we just wake up one morning and it's there. It's a gradual process, isn't it? So, for you've moved into that space for however long. What was the sort of first step, do you recall, that you yeah, what was it you did? Did you make a decision, I don't want to be here, or did something happen? Or
That's it. I mean, I just like, how deep can my hole be? I think I started to doodle myself in quicksand.
right.
My head is like, I'm up there, like either I do or die. That was the way I felt. And like, and friends would want to reach out to me, but I didn't want to be with anybody because I didn't want to bring anybody down, because I'm really energetic in that sense. I don't want to give off negative energy.
Yeah.
And I felt so negative. So it was really about realizing that if I don't do it myself, and I mean by doing myself is either climb out by myself or scream for help.
Yeah.
So I did seek a therapist then. I started to go walking, because that was the simplest way for me to start getting moving, because I would rather be in bed all day and not move with the curtains down. And it was really down. But if I did not take a step, I would just get sucked into that. So, and we know that energy is the best antidepressant. So, and movement. So that's what I started to do. I would call up a friend. I said, would you want to walk with me? It's just making that extra effort. Call a girlfriend that won't judge you, won't ask you questions, don't put you down. Just one of your girlfriend or a sister, somebody who you know. I mean, and sometimes if you know somebody who's depressed, sometimes just lend your ear. Don't give advice. Don't give advice. Just lend an ear. What can I do to help you? Tell me. I think when you're in the hole, you shut down in every way, and you're afraid to call out.
Yeah.
If you don't call out for help, that person is not going to be able to come find you without a flashlight. You need that person with a flashlight to come in your hole and help you out. If you can get out yourself.
True. And so when you were in that space, were people aware, or did you hide it well? Because I think lots of women that I've spoken to, excuse me, they were like, no one had any idea. I was still my bubbly self to the outside world, and it's like, wearing that mask, isn't it? This is how I want people to perceive me, because if I really let them know what's going on in my inner world, I might not be the person that they think that I am. So
right, and that's about the ego, like worrying what people think about us. Worrying, oh my God, they'll see a flaw. I'm not perfect, and I think we have to let go of the idea of perfection. We have to, and that's what I'm saying. That's when you're not authentic with yourself, because you're so worried about other people think and how you're supposed to act and how you're supposed to be, rather than how you really want to show up in the world.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, we are conditioned around depression, seeking therapy and all that, it's although it's better now, but generally it's seen as a negative thing. And it's not. I mean, it's such a strength. And depression is because you've really lost sight of who you are and who you want to be. A lot to do with what you're attached to your story and the social conditioning.
Right.
Because deep in your soul that you're perfect and that you're okay. But like you said, the ego will come in and it will, keep grasping hold of those stories that we've created for ourselves over time.
Correct.
So shouting out and saying, do you know what, I'm not okay, I'm not all right. And it's so authentic. It is that vulnerability, isn't it? Allowing ourselves to be vulnerable.
Yes.
Because other people connect, to being vulnerable. And that's what I love about all the women that I've interviewed, is that everyone over all the interviews that I've done, they've stepped into that place of vulnerability, and they've said, do you know what, I've had enough of being, pretending, and I'm just going to step up now. And it sounds like, that's what you did. So you're saying you hid it for a while, but then what happened? When did you sort of come out, as it were, and say, I'm not feeling so great now?
I was going for a walk with my husband one day. And, he liked me being home. he's also a child of survivors. So we both grew up in traditional roles.
Yeah.
But he also knew I was feeling so down, depressed, and because I knew there was something more to me, and I was so frustrated because I didn't know what to do. So we went for a walk one day, and we support this orphanage, and so he said, "You know what would make you happy?" He said, "If you stayed with these kids for a month and just drew with them, just painted and colored and draw, that would really make you happy." And that was like, he got me.
Yeah.
He finally got me. And that's when I signed up. That next day I signed up for the school that I was thinking about going to.
Yeah.
But I've been pushing off. So that's when, wow, he got me. That's exactly what I want to do. I started working with children, and now it's evolved to women and a lot of children of Holocaust survivors. So that's why I talk about trauma, how we survived our parents.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow, that's incredible. And so what were some of the experiences that you had with, that month at that school? What are some of those memories when you look back on? Because we learn so much from kids, don't we? As our adult selves, and when we see them, just in their naivety and their innocence, and even though they experience trauma, kids can still be very innocent and naive.
Yeah, and they can be so innocent, and they're so not judgmental.
Yeah.
So I would walk in, they're like, well, these 3 or 4 year olds coming to hug me and crowd around me. It was such a nice thing. It's been so long since my own children did that, so it was so nice. But I was working with a little girl. She was a 3-year-old girl. It was an inner city school, children, and I was doing internship with other interns.
Yeah.
And because it was a certification program, I wasn't really allowed to do one-on-one, only the people who were doing their masters. So there was this little girl, and she wasn't talking, and she was with her body movement, she was moving, bothering people and hitting kids. And so I zoomed in on her, and I thought about my years of taking my boys to speech therapy. I had the experience that the younger women didn't have because they were college age. And so I started using techniques to see, A, if she understood language, or B, if she's able to express language. So I realized she's able to express it. So every time we get together, it was in a classroom setting. I would sit with her, and I would have her say the action she's doing over and over and over again. So she was able to relate to the action and to what she was doing. And I just went over. She got very comfortable with me. She cuddled every time I walk in. She would sit with me. She wanted to be with me. So we became a friend, let's say. And then one day I walked over to her. We're washing. She comes over to me. She says, "Can you wash my hands?" That was a moment. That was a gift we gave each other. The fact that she felt comfortable enough to finally open up and express herself without me prompting her, that was a huge gift. And then the school asked me to work with her one-on-one, which was not the norm, because they thought I was able to work with her. And it turned out she had selective mutism, because there was abuse going on at home, and we did a lot of play therapy and art therapy, and so from that, I learned so much. And then, of course, it was just an internship, so I only had a limited time with her. But I came to realize she knows language, but she had to have speech therapy for word retrieval because she hadn't been using words, and then there was an order of protection against the dad, and so much has come up. So in that 6-month span of me working with her, that was realized wow, I can really help somebody. I actually can get it and help somebody, and that was a big moment for me. And and then you have a client here and a client there. It's wow, look, I'm able to let them see things that they weren't aware of. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's incredible. And for that little girl, that would be life transforming, isn't it? To be able to find another adult who comes into a world who's a stranger, but being able to trust her. So there's something about you energetically that she connected to.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
it's quite beautiful, isn't it? Yeah.
Thank you. Yes, it
Wow.
is wonderful. It's
Yeah.
wonderful. And,
So with all your experience and knowledge, you know, on your life journey, if you had to give some advice to your 16-year-old self, what would it be? What would you be saying to her?
Find your passion. Get educated about it.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
And be authentically you.
Yeah.
Don't worry what people think. Don't
Mm-hmm.
worry what people say, because somebody's always going to be critical of you, and you can't please everybody.
So true.
Just get out of your own head and be with those who support you, not criticize you. It's all about support. Find your girls, find your tribe who will support you and who believe in you and will lift your spirit up as you do for others as well. You know, we talk about a little old fashioned of the caveman days. You know, the men went out to hunt and the women stayed and gathered.
Yeah.
And, not that I'm saying hunting it's not traditional role for a woman.
Yeah.
And I think when in the 1980s, when women went to hunt in the corporate world, women went out and they got those big padded shoulders and they tried to, be a man.
Yeah.
And try to be something they're not primarily supposed to be. And I think women need to embrace their femininity and stay with the tribe, because that tribe will lift us up. It's not the hunting where people step on each other to get to the top. It's the tribe that lifts us all up. Yeah,
absolutely. And that is so powerful in itself, isn't it? I mean, I know certainly in my life and my life journey, it has been the circle of women, my tribe, my absolutely implicitly trusted girlfriends that's made the difference more than any therapy or anything else. It is that tribe. It's so powerful. And you're right, we have lost that. I think we are now shifting back into that, but it's still very small in the world. I mean, that's what I love. That's why I love listening to women's stories, and the people that I've interviewed, it's very much we all become part of a tribe, a bigger tribe. We're supporting each other. There's that thread that goes through our story, and we've been there. We've been in that masculine world. We've tried it out. We've tried to be the hunter-gatherer, and we're like, no, we don't like this space.
Right.
And it takes courage to move back in, doesn't it? Move back into being the feminine.
Who said it's such a bad place to be?
It is. I know.
It's a fabulous place to be. And here we are, we're across the world, and we are opening up our tribes. We are spreading the message. So, and everything now, women are speaking up now, so which is great.
Yes, yeah. And in New Zealand, they have this. I mean, originally I'm from England, but I live in New Zealand and I absolutely love it, and it's beautiful, and I love the people and everything about it. But they have this saying, when something goes wrong or you're emotional, they just go, oh, take a concrete pill, harden up. And I'm like, whoa. So that's the sort of the term they use, and I'm like, gosh, that's really going to help women step back into their feminine. Well, even men, men can't connect to their feminine essence, because it's like, got to harden up, take a concrete pill. That's what that's what a Kiwi bloke does, and it's like, whoa,
absolutely. When a boy cries, like, don't be such a sissy, it's like, it's like it's shaming boys to
show
connect with
emotion.
So it's not a good thing. I think relationships would be better if both men and women were honest with their emotions.
And I think, men are very emotional beings, but they're conditioned, the hunter-gatherer, you don't show emotion. Because, in reality, all those years ago, if you did, you were killed. That was a reality, but we don't live in that world today. It's everyone's, the fear is the emotional fear. It's not a physical fear.
Correct.
So, beautiful.
that fear that the cortisol still lies within us.
Yeah.
So, even though there are no animals in my part of town.
Yeah, no, mine either. So Susan, how can our audience get in touch with you? How can they connect with you and find out what you're doing in this space?
They can check out my website at artmendshearts.com. You can always email me at artmendshearts@gmail.com. You can follow me on Facebook, Art Mends Hearts. You can follow me on Twitter and on Instagram at Art Mends Hearts, one word. Connect with me on LinkedIn, Susan Greif, Art Mends Hearts. I would love to meet anybody, connect with anybody, any questions. I offer workshops and speaking engagements, so I'd love to connect and spread our message. I think this is I'm loving having this conversation with you and spreading our message.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and I'll put all those links at the bottom of the interview so women can find you. And do you have, on your website or part of your business, do you have any sort of free resources or courses or anything like that women can sign up to?
Don't have anything free yet,
right.
But because I just redid my website, so I'm going to start putting more things in there. But if you sign up for my newsletters, on my website, anytime you get some emails, you'll get some more information. I'm going to put up one of my stories that I had written for a book called Life Sparks. So I'm going to offer this like a free, ebook, a mini ebook, to understand my journey and also inspire women to cross their bridges. It's called Crossing Bridges. So
fantastic! What a great title. I mean, it had to be that, didn't it? It's brilliant. Yeah, absolutely fantastic.
Between my photographs and and crossing the bridges, that was something I needed to work on.
Yeah, what a wonderful title. Well, Susan, thank you so much. I've enjoyed our interview immensely. It's been great. Thank you.
It's been lovely. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Remain real, authentic, and whole. Be yourself and continue to follow your dreams. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you next time on Woman of Strength TV.